Hi, this evening I'm going to show you the proper method to make green tea. Now, green tea, unlike other teas, is very sensitive to temperature. So we need to make the tea at around 165 to 175 degrees Fahrenheit. And the best way to gauge the temperature of water would be, of course, to have an electric kettle that gives you a temperature reading. But if you don't have one like that, even a uh, kettle, a glass kettle, will do uh, justice to that. When you put it on the stove top or plug it into the electric outlet to get the temperature going, um, as it heats up, the little air bubbles will start to emerge, and that is the time and that is the temperature that you need to make green tea. So it's about 165 to 175. Anywhere in between would be all right. Now, if you go higher than 175, there is a tendency for green tea to emit astringent or a bitter taste. Now, some astringency is desirable. Green teas have that character, and the astringency is part of a green tea, but not bitterness. Bitterness is can be irritating and unpleasant, so we need to avoid that. The other thing that you need to remember about green tea is the quantity of tea. If you make it too strong, also it has the tendency to become bitter. And so you have to be a little cautious when you make green tea. There are so many varieties of green teas, and there also lies the problem. There are some teas that are more forgiving than others, that if you increase your temperature, it doesn't get as bitter as some other teas. But you have this problem of understanding green tea from one tea to the other, so that you don't make that mistake uh, going forward. So what we have here is a green Mutan tea that has a lot of buds and leaves in it, and I'm going to use 3 grams of tea in this 16-ounce pot. So the way I do that would be to put it on the scale and measure out, weigh out 3 grams. That's it. This is in an infuser, so that it will separate the water from the leaves. And this is a 16-ounce pot, and this is the lid for that. This is available on our website under tea accessories. It's a glass upright 16-ounce teapot. So the water is at 175 degrees, and I'm going to fill this up. That's about right. And I'm going to set the timer for 3 minutes, because that is the temperature that is most desirable for green tea. Now, if you steep it too long, again you have the problem of bitterness setting in. As I said, green teas, you have to be very careful, and 3 minutes is about the right time. There are some teas, as I said, there are some green teas that would not get bitter even at 5 minutes, or maybe even at 6 minutes, but the others are not. So you have to know your teas, and the more you play around with it, the better. Even if you make a mistake the first time, that's okay. You can correct it the next time. You know the reason. your temperature was too high, or your uh, uh, temperature was too high, or the concentration was too much, or you have been steeping it for too long. So those are things that are variable, and those are things that you need to keep in mind when you're making green tea. So here's the green Muttan, and it is slowly but surely unfurling while it is steeping. We can use a little spoon to make it easy for the green leaves to steep. The more agitation there is, the better it is for steeping. And you will find that the green leaves will open up slowly but surely, and within 3 minutes it's not going to completely unfurl. It's not going to open up entirely in 3 minutes. It might open up 1/4 or half. So you can always make a second steeping out of that same leaf, or even a third steeping from that same leaf. It all depends on the extraction. So if you do a 3-minute extraction, I'm sure you will get a lot more infusions out of this, because the nature of the leaf is such that the flavor is inside the leaf in the cells, and it is only through an osmosis process that the leaves will begin to give out the flavor into the water. Unlike black teas, where there's a coating of tea juices on the leaf particle itself, in green teas and oolong teas it's a little different. There is some amount of particle coating, but not completely. Most of the flavor is still trapped inside, and it is by osmosis that it is given out to the water. So now we have oops, this didn't work. So I think 3 minutes is up. So I'm going to take this out. And then set it on the inverted lid, which acts as a coaster. See? So it doesn't drip all over the table. So here's your green tea. Now the color is very weak, very light. That's because we have steeped it only for 3 minutes. If you keep it longer, of course, it'll get a darker color. So we can taste this with pour it into a cup. And that's your taste of tea. It's very nice, very smooth. There is absolutely no trace of bitterness. So now I'm going to take a break and come back and show you how to make the second infusion out of that same leaf.